I do want to speak on this as well. Last night, Cormani McClain, he joined a Twitter space. I'm not even too familiar with what those are, but it's a thing where you can join it and talk to other people. And he stated, quote unquote, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was 11. It ain't on my end, it's on their end. I think this is a really interesting development going on here, and I haven't even checked, but I firmly believe Cormani McClain will not, I'm going to repeat that, he will not be the last Colorado player to leave. Well, what do we have brewing here? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we got some drama brewing in the college football world, more specifically, brewing around the Colorado football program. One of, if not the most prestigious recruit that Coach Prime brought in one of these recent classes, Cormani McClain, former 5-star recruit, he has announced he's leaving. Which that in itself, it's already a huge storyline, and we're going to talk all about it. But Cormani McClain, he has hinted at some reasons as to why he left. What's really odd about this is, for those of you that don't know, Cormani McClain wasn't just a 5-star recruit, but he was a cornerback. He was a defensive back. As most of you know as well, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, Prime Time, whatever you want to call him, he was also a defensive back, so I guess you could say that's his specialty. So Deion Sanders' whole sales pitch to Cormani McClain to convince him to go to Colorado over the blue bloods like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, etc. is number one, the relatability factor, because Coach Prime, like he stated, he looks like the players. He's been in their position before. And then number two, they play the same position. And to tell you the truth, I probably wouldn't even be talking about this if this was some random player at a different position. But since it's Cormani McClain leaving, I think it's that much bigger of a headline. I am beyond excited and ecstatic to get into this video because it's been, what, 2 or 3 months since we've done a college football news video? It's been a hot minute, and anytime we can do a college football news video in the offseason, I relish the opportunity. Hope you guys are excited as I am to get into this video, but alright, man, blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, where's the official report at? I had it pulled up. Here it is. The breaking news came out yesterday that Colorado cornerback Cormani McClain plans to enter the transfer portal. The 6'3", 173-pound cornerback from Lakeland, Florida was ranked as the #1 cornerback in the class of 2023. Now, at this point in time, I shouldn't have to give you an introduction for Mr. Cormani McClain here because, well, we've talked about him before on the channel. He's a 5-star recruit, one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best cornerbacks in the class of 2023. All right, I'm curious now. I can't remember. What was his overall recruit ranking? I know he was the #1 cornerback, but I want to see how highly touted he was. Got it right here. Cormani was ranked as the 14th best, not cornerback, but the 14th best overall recruit in the nation. Not too shabby. And as we all know by now, he decided to go to Colorado and team up with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Primetime. At first glance, seemed like a match made in heaven, and heck, I remember hyping it up just as much as anybody else, if not more than anybody else. And the reason I love the Cormani to Colorado fit is for multiple different reasons. Reason number one, the obvious, you're going to play for one of the most talented defensive backs of all time in Deion Sanders. Reason number two is, as a highly touted and regarded 5-star recruit who has all the talent in the world, if you go to a school like Colorado, the chances of you getting on the field from day one, or not day one, but just faster than everybody else, it goes up drastically. Whereas if you go to an Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, etc., it's going to be a little more difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the iron sharpens iron mentality, because when you go to Georgia and everybody in that defensive back room is a 4- and 5-star recruit, it's going to sharpen your game. It's going to elevate you because you don't have no choice but to elevate, or you're going to get left behind. On the contrary, if you go to a lower D1 program like a Kentucky, like a Illinois, like a Northwestern, well, there's not going to be a bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits in the defensive back room. Therefore, if you are a 5-star recruit like Cormani or whoever, you can kind of slack off a little bit and let your talent take over for the hard work. I can't dumb it down any more than this, and I'm going to say it again. Iron sharpens iron. And a lot of these kids who have huge egos, they need to be pushed to their limits. They need to be tested. They don't need to be in an environment where they know they're the best player. With that being said, you do have your rare generational talents like a Caleb Downs, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Travis Hunter, who are going to start day one whether they're at Colorado, Alabama, or Ohio State. Doesn't matter. Those guys could be the most talented person in the room or the least talented. They're still going to work the same. Getting back on track here with Cormani originally going to Colorado, the reason I love this is because I thought he'd easily be able to get on the field from day one. I thought it was going to be a great fit for Colorado. Why? Because they suck. They need 4- and 5-star recruits. They need good defensive backs. Vice versa, I thought it'd be good for Cormani McClain because as a football player, what do you want to do? you want to play. Here we are, though. You fast forward in time and look up into the season. Colorado's 3-0. They had that magnificent start, but Cormani McClain, he's nowhere to be found. He's not on the field. And yeah, he played a little bit in some games whatsoever, but it was only for a couple of series, if that. Colorado had the worst defense in the nation last year. USC's, they gave them a run for their money, but I'm going to say Colorado's was slightly worse. That's what baffled everybody last year, because you see the Colorado defense, it's pitiful. That then led to everybody thinking this. Well, dang, McClain can't be that much worse, can he? It even got to the point, and I remember making a video on this, where people were asking Coach Prime after the games, hey, where's Cormani McClain at? In which Deion responded, I can't remember the exact quote, but he referenced that McClain wasn't ready, and also I believe he wasn't showing up to some meetings here and there. Wait a minute, it's coming back to me now. Deion said something along the lines of, only Cormani McClain can help Cormani McClain. In other terms here, the coaching staff wasn't holding him back. It was Cormani who was holding himself back. I covered that situation very closely. A couple weeks would go by, and Cormani McClain, he would be inserted into the games. And this is where McClain, he pretty much here, with all due respect, got exposed. Make no mistakes about it. He was awful last year when he was on the field, and when he got out there and you saw how bad he was, it all made sense as to why he wasn't playing. It's like, oh yeah, that's why he's not getting any playing time. And I low-key feel like Deion Sanders put him out there just to prove a point to the media. You see, this is why he isn't playing. Because he isn't ready. I know everything I just said, it was a lot, but it gives you a lot of context to everything that has led up until this point. And ever since Cormani McClain yesterday entered the transfer portal, everybody and their mom has been speculating as to why he left. They're trying to figure it out. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of yada yada yada. Nonsense. Going off of the facts and evidence from me following this situation closely, I'm going to give you my best educated guess and assumption here. Disclaimer. I have not talked to Coach Prime about this, nor have I talked to Cormani McClain about this. But I have covered situations like this before, and I don't think you got to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out. Cormani McClain, as a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, he had a big ego. Rightfully so. I think he earned the ego. I mean, come on now. If you played sports and were decent to even the slightest of bits in high school, you had an ego. Imagine being a 5-star recruit. It is natural to be cocky and have an ego as a high schooler, as a teenager. We've all been there. Moving along here, Cormani McClain, he thinks committing to Colorado is going to be all sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies. It's going to be sweet. I know exactly what he was thinking. Hey, I'm the big shot 5-star recruit. They're going to put me on a pedestal, man. I'm not going to have to work as hard. That's what he thought. He thought going to Colorado, he probably wasn't going to have to work too hard. And according to Deion Sanders himself, he stated in an interview that Cormani wasn't working hard. He wasn't showing up to meetings, wasn't doing all the small things. I think from day one, when he stepped foot on campus at Colorado, he got into the coaching staff's doghouse and he couldn't get out. If you're a former athlete or current athlete, if you've ever been in the coach's doghouse, you know how hard that can be to get out of and how discouraging it can be as well. I think McClain got into that doghouse. He got discouraged. From there on out, it was wraps. It appeared to seem that he was trying to fight through the problems in adversity, because I think he was. I genuinely believe he wanted it to work out at Colorado, but it just didn't. And I know Coach Prime even stated, oh yeah, well, Cormani McClain, it's up to him if he wants to start. It's up to him if he wants to play more. But some of this, too, I think has got to be put back on the coaching staff. I can't put all the blame here on McClain, because from everything I've heard, this isn't some bad kid. He's not causing huge problems on or off the field. He's not some menace to society. He's not a bad kid. In my humble opinion, he just got put in a bad situation. And I know I say he got put in a bad situation. He decided to go there, but you get what I'm trying to say. This Colorado football program is not good. They're below average currently, and they're not good at developing players. I do want to speak on this as well. Last night, Cormani McClain, he joined a Twitter space. I'm not even too familiar with what those are, but it's a thing where you can join it and talk to other people. And he stated, quote unquote, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was 11. It ain't on my end, it's on their end. To dumb this down even more here, he was referencing when he was speaking in this Twitter space, the reason he's leaving is because of the Colorado coaching staff. I think this is a really interesting development going on here, and I haven't even checked, but I firmly believe Cormani McClain will not, I'm going to repeat that, he will not be the last Colorado player to leave. I'm going to check some transfer portal stuff out in a couple hours, but I believe there's more to come. Colorado looks great on the outside. You see all the social media clicks and views, but when you get on the inside, it is still a below average college football program. I like Deion, all respect and love to him. I have great relationships with Travis Hunter. Shout out to Travis, shout out to Shadur Sanders. It's not anything personal. It's just reality, and I gotta call things for how they are. Unfortunate things didn't work out, but like we say, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts down below. But